What up, happy people? Let us do a show this week. See how it goes. Finally, Friday is being brought to you by Major Spoilers VIP and Patreon members from around the world. Head over to patreon.com/Major Spoilers for exclusive content and find out how you can help keep this channel growing all the time. Oh. Hello. I did not see you there. Taco Bell for lunch, says Marshall and Blue Front. Who else had the Taco Bell? Or as we call it, the Taco Hell. Or Taco Smell. Either way, you can go either way with that. Taco Bell or Taco Smell. Hello, Marshall. How are you today? Oh, morning in Australia already. How are the fires in Australia? Do you do a percentage contained? Or do you just say, it's all still burning? Still feel really bad about Australia, but I'm glad that you're here. Alex IV. Let's see, we have an auto mods. Oh, I will allow this. From somebody who says hi. You live where it's safe. Good, I'm glad. The great Nate O is in. We're going to open up the phone lines today, Nate, if you want to give us a call. We will get you in and talking to us. You can tell us all about your fantastic trip to Star Wars Land or anything else that is on your mind. 785-727-1939 if anybody wants to call in. Family is close. You can see smoke over their back fences. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know that fear. I used to live in the country, and we would occasionally have prairie fire. You know, people's would set their property on fire, burn control, to help foster growth or whatever. I came home. This is the weirdest thing. I got a weird story about pasture burning from when I was a kid. I came home one day from high school. It had to have been high school because I was driving a car. So I came home from high school, and I noticed in the property right next to where my parents' house is an open field, and there were fire trucks coming through. The only way they could get over to the field that was on fire was to drive through our land and then snake the hose out and everything. And they were, putting out a fire in the middle of this pasture. And I was like, that's weird. Number one, it was weird because it was literally in the middle of a pasture. This is not something that someone could flick a cigarette butt out their window and have it land out in the middle of the field to start a fire. This was a good, I don't know, unless you can flick a lit cigarette from your car and have it go 30 yards. Because that's how far that this fire was, at least 20, 30 yards. At least 30 from the road. So that in itself was pretty weird, that just in the middle of the field, a fire started. It was a spring or fall. I don't think it was, like somebody had a fireplace going or a fire going and an ember got away, because it was the only fire in this field. Marshall is kind of checked on something here. He goes, aliens? ? Because here's where the story gets a little weird, right? So the fire trucks, they pack up and they leave. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm home by myself. I have free reign of the house. I will go upstairs into my parents' bedroom. And the window in their bedroom overlooked that field. And so I could look right out over and see that field in the burn spot. And sure enough, Marshall, it was a perfect circle. And the only thing I could think of was, I think a UFO must have landed there and taken off. That's a weird, Now, it didn't have any of the telltale signs of other alien encounters, right? That burn spot didn't stick around for like 20 years. It's not like crazy things started growing there or appearing there or anything like that. But a perfectly round circle right there in the middle of the field. I always thought a piece of glass too. Maybe somebody chucked a pop bottle or something out there, or a piece of broken glass got out there, but in order for it to just form a perfect circle like that is really, really, really kind of weird. Let us go to the phone lines. Hi, who's this? Hello, hello? Maybe I can't hear you. Oh, let me do this. Hi, who is this now?
Hey, Steven, it's Nato. How are you, sir?
Nate, it is good to have you back on the show. You've been gone far too long, far too long. What's going on with you?
Not much. Just scheduling is normally why I can't get on there. With Taekwondo they changed the scheduling on that, but everything else is going good. Got a new job, enjoying that.
Yeah, it has been far too long since you've been on the show and since we have talked to you. So first, let's start at the top with your brand new job. The last time we talked with you, I think you had just gotten a job, or maybe you had just been laid off from your previous job. So
laid off.
Yeah, what were you doing? Where? If you want to say, you can say where you're working, but what are you doing now? What is your new job?
Well, right now I'm field support for the school board for my county.
Oh,
so
nice.
So I don't know if they do it like that in Kansas. I know like up in the Northeast, the city controls the schools, but here there's actually basically a government agency called the school board of the county.
We have school boards. Yeah, it's run by the county.
So
it's elected officials.
That's the same thing. Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's kind of who I'm working for right now. So
yeah, nice. Get one of them nice fat government contracts with government insurance and stuff.
Well, it's on a contract. I literally work for them. So that's the good thing.
Yeah. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, pension plan and everything.
Nice. All right, so that's one good thing that's happened. And then you go to a karate tournament and you meet Bruce Lee's descendant or something, and he totally cracks your knee open or something. What's going on with your leg?
Oh, it's getting better. I've had some issues, and I had a big meniscus tear in there, and once I got laid off, it was a good time for me to go ahead and get surgery done. So they went in there, cleaned everything out, and I'm about 95% ready to go back. So next tournament cycle after the summer, I'm going to be going a lot of tournaments. So
yeah, well, that's good. So, cool. But I saw your picture from when you were at the Star Wars land. You're still wearing a brace though, right?
Well, we were doing a lot of walking, so it was basically I was just keeping it in check because it was really sore after walking around. So just keeping it in check. So
you're not ready for a cane yet.
No, pretty close though.
Well, my youngest son is now a green belt. It has been as of today exactly a year since he started karate. And he is now a green belt. He did basically an all-day test for his green belt. It wasn't all day, but he was there at like 8 in the morning until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The black belts had been there for more than 24 hours testing for the brown belts had been there for more than 24 hours testing for their black belts. But he got his green belt, and he's pretty happy about that. And then he has a tournament, not this next weekend, not the first weekend in February. I think it is the second weekend in February. He will be going to a tournament, so he's kind of not excited. He doesn't like sparring.
Some of the kids that age, it depends. Some of them love it, some of them don't love it. It all depends.
He doesn't. I know why he doesn't like it. It's because he's a little bit smaller than the rest, but he's aggressive. I mean, he's got some good punches and he's got good blocks. I think this time around, now that he's had experience from the first time he did his tournament, I think he'll do much, much, much better. But his forms are really good. That's why he's progressing as much as he is.
Yeah, forms. My instructor is a big forms guy, but he's a really good sparrer too. So and honestly, size, depending on how he moves, if he's quick enough, I mean, you can read an opponent properly. It doesn't matter what your size is. You can get in there, pop, and get back out without like, whoa, what just happened? So
he's got a triple strike. That's pretty cool because I like to mess with them. I don't hit my kids, but I always come in like a side slap or a front slap or a fake a fake kind of punch. And the other day, I just came up and tried to do a fake, like an uppercut. He blocked that and then boom, 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 right to my face, and would have gotten some points there. So he knows what he's doing. He just needs to have faith that he can do it.
Oh,
so
yeah, The good thing is if you take karate with your son, then if you do hit him, it's considered training.
Yeah, I've thought about that, but there are adults in his beginner's class, but the adult class happens after his beginner's class, and that's podcasting. I can't do any of that stuff.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's not open during the day. So
but
now I'm very curious. Now I already talked to Samantha Nelson and I got her reactions to Star Wars Land, but let's talk about your recent trip to Disney World and to the new attractions at what is it called? Galaxy's Edge or whatever it's called. I call it Star Wars Land, and I'm sure everyone else calls it Star Wars Land.
So it's actually they did a very neat thing. So most of the time we went there like probably twice. So we went into the area there twice. So what they really did is when you walk in, there's so we came in on the side where there's the
whoops.
And there looks like an overpass, and it has whatever, and you look like you're walking underneath an underpass, and then as you walk underneath it, you transition into the world of Star Wars. So it's actually you're on Bontoon.
Mm-hmm.
That's the planet that you're on. And what they did was they were really smart about it. When you walk in, they almost sink it down more into it than all the rest of the park. So the line of sight, you can't really see anything else. So it feels
really
like
smart.
You're really on the planet. There was a couple of places you could see stuff, but that because of construction and things that they're doing, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff because I think I want to say the 50th anniversary or something's coming up next year, and they're prepping a lot of stuff for it. So, and what they'll do too is like in certain sections, they'll run the sound like a spaceship is flying overhead.
Oh, neat. So it makes you look up and go, what is that?
Exactly. All of a sudden you're like, it's like taking off. And then they have different props and stuff. A lot of like where the beverage carts and stuff were like little, speeders with droids on them and things like that. And everything was, languaged as far as, Imperial language or Republic language. I don't know. It's all that weird language. So
Star Wars, Star Wars
really
words. Neat. Yeah. Neat.
Exactly. So, and then, all the experiences were really neat. All the shops were really cool. Now the reason why I didn't go on the Ride of Resistance is twofold. One, I was with another family and it was kind of weird. Second of all, what they've been doing since it's so many people there, they're not actually, what they've been doing is you have to arrive there a half hour prior to the park opening, so which is around 6:30.
Yeah.
And then you have to go onto their app and then you have to register for a group.
Oh man.
And then, so you have hundreds of people sitting outside the park trying to get a reservation basically for a group, and they don't guarantee any. They only can guarantee up to, depending on the day and how many people. But the last few times I've seen it was like if you got into group 150 or below, then you're guaranteed to get on the ride for that day. Plus, while we were there, it must have broke 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, so
they had to stop it and start it.
Yeah, I was talking to Samantha Nelson, who's one of our players on Critical Hit. Of course, you know that, Nate, but everyone else may not. But she told me that they were scheduled to go, like one of the last groups to go on that night, and the ride broke down, and they were like, oh, go over here and get, come back tomorrow and get on free kind of pass, It turns out the way she was describing it, I think Brian Brushwood was in that same group as her because he talked about the machine breaking down at the exact same time, the last ride of the night, and them not being able to go on. Now, she said the ride came right back on.
Too?
Yeah, Brian Brushwood was there the same week, too.
Oh, my God, that's insane.
Yeah, he was doing his family vacation there, and so I was like, oh, well, let me see if Nate can meet 2 of his favorite peoples in the world. So that was the other cool thing is you got to meet Samantha Nelson while you were there.
Yes, that was really cool. We met up in Epcot, and we were kind of private messaging each other, and I guess she was with a group of people, and of course I was with a group of people, and it just worked out. So we met in Germany, and I bought her a grapefruit beer. So it was all happy days.
Just to kind of date myself, when I worked at Disney at Epcot, the only country you could buy beer in was England.
Germany. Yep.
No, it was it was the England. Yeah, because I don't think Germany had beer at that time. They only had the England was the only place where you could buy a beer. So that was a long time ago. But I'm glad now you can go get schnockered at every country of the world in one afternoon.
Oh my God, it's great. It is great. But the cool thing at Epcot was they're actually retooling a lot of stuff. They're putting a Big Hero 6 ride in there.
Oh, nice.
Or an attraction for Big Hero 6. They're putting in a Guardians of the Galaxy ride. They're redoing Test Track. So they're also doing some modifications to Mission Space and a whole bunch of other things. So like Epcot is getting like a massive overhaul right now.
Well, that's good because it kind of needed that. The front half of the park is interesting, but you can only, again, for me, ride that GM History of Cars thing so many times before it gets boring.
Well, yeah, that's not there anymore. That's the Test Track, but yeah, you're dating yourself again.
Yeah, I am dating myself again. I'm curious, though, have you been able to get back to the park and try the rides for Star Wars Land?
Not yet. We're actually, because we have seasonal passes, so that's another reason why we really weren't like, oh, we need to go, because I have a seasonal pass and I can pretty much go whenever I want. So
right.
The Millennium Falcon ride was only about 75 minutes at the most.
That's not too bad.
But that it was okay. But we didn't get a chance to because my son. So there's a special thing where you can actually go down to this one section, and they're like, "Oh, are you here to see this certain person?" And they're like, "Oh, yes." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Go over here and pay some money." And they give you this pin, and you're like, okay, put this pin on.
Uh-huh.
It's a build your lightsaber type of adventure. And it's really well done because they're called the Gatherers, and they gather all these pieces, and there's like 4 different types of sets you can buy, or the different parts and whatever. And you basically assemble your lightsaber, and it's not one of those plastic ones you get off of when you go on what do you call it? Star Tours. This is a heavy. It's like a real lightsaber, if there really was one. And there's this whole thing, and then they stick it into this chamber, and you light it up, and then pull it out of the chamber with the lightsaber all lit up and ready to go.
Nice.
So it was a neat little adventure. So
you've seen the Force Effects lightsabers, right? I mean, they've got metal handles and everything. You can't take them apart, but they do have that basically an LED tube that lights up and makes the swooshy sounds. Do these lightsabers that you build also have those?
They do. So basically, the neat thing is there's another store where you can actually put a different type of kyber crystal in it, and it will change the color of the lightsaber and the sound and the effects. So you can get a yellow or
and then you can swap those out yourself, or is that a one-time thing? It's like
nope. You can swap them out whenever you want to.
Nice. Okay, so here's the big question. This is Disneyland, which is the equivalent of buying a Mac Pro computer. What is that setting people back?
It's $200.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's not bad because I think the Force Effects lightsaber when it first came out was like $100, $150. So knowing the Disney markup, that's not too bad.
And the experience that you're getting with this whole thing. There was actually a little girl. She was about 8 years old, and she was building her own lightsaber. So what it is you come in there with the person that's building it, and you can have one spectator, one guest.
Right.
So her dad was with her, and the whole time her eyes were like super huge. I mean, she lifted it up. The little girl was just amazed because you build the hilt or the handle, and they put it in a chamber, and all of a sudden when you turn it on, it opens the chamber, and there's the blade. The blade there,
is so cool,
and it's on there. So it's
that is very cool. Now, Now, I guess, $200 for one kid, probably not that big of a deal, but you got, a couple of kids in your family, and I'm sure you've got a Nate in your family. I don't know how your wife feels, but, 3 lightsabers or 4 lightsabers, $1,000, that would set you back pretty quick.
Well, the good thing is my son used his own money for his.
Ah, good.
So he's 19 now, so he's got his own money. Now I have to save my own money up because she will not give me money to do that. She's like, you have to spend your own money. I'm like, okay.
Now I've heard, and I don't know if you've been over to Harry Potter Land, but I've heard that the experience with the lightsabers is very similar to when you do your wand thing at Harry Potter Land over at was it Universal or Warner Brothers at the WB Park.
I've been to that too. Not that I've done it, but I've been to that. And sorry, it's sort of like this, but because you grab one and you test it, and it does all these special effects and all this other stuff, and they've done that too because because you have to pick your kyber crystal. So when they pull it out of this big like tube chamber thing, and then they put it out there and you select your kyber crystal, and when the gentleman is like kind of explaining the whole thing that's going on, and this is supposed to be happening after, I think, Rise of Skywalker, he starts talking about the different colors of the kyber crystals, and of course the ceiling changes color, and Yoda starts talking to people
Far
and things.
out,
So
man.
it's pretty neat. And then the cool thing is the other shop, what they were doing is you can get a red kyber crystal, but they were selling, if you bought the container with it, there was like a 1 in 100 or 1,000 chance that you would actually get a black kyber crystal.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Then you would have had a black saber just like the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Neat.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah,
right,
it was worth it.
So my big thing is, so you going to Star Wars Land, not a big deal because you've got the season pass and you guys can go into the parks whenever you want, which is a lot different than, say, somebody who's like, oh, this is our yearly vacation. We've only got the one chance, and then you may or may not get to check out those rides. Would be a little heartbreaking. But I'm going to be curious because I did see that you guys went and did the Stormtrooper VR thing again afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be very curious after you do the Galaxies, or what's the Rise of the Resistance, or whatever that new attraction is. After you do that Resistance one, I would be very curious for you to let us know what the difference is between, or I don't want to say differences because they're totally two different venues and two different experiences, but I'd be very curious to see which one you liked more. The one where that feels like it's a completely immersive VR thing where you're shooting at stuff, or this new attraction that Disney has.
Yeah.
So
I actually watched a lot of I saw some of the behind the scenes on the Imagineering show on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be, it is completely different, but yeah, it's neat. And they actually added that VR experience. They actually added a Wreck-It Ralph type thing
neat.
too.
So did you do that one too, or just do the Star Wars?
No, we didn't. I didn't really realize that they were doing that one. So when we got there, you can actually pick either one. So everyone else wanted to do Star Wars. I'm like, all right, whatever. But next time when we go, we're going to try to do the Wreck-It Ralph because that one actually has a competitive type of mode. So
very cool.
When you're running around, you're doing whatever, and then if you lift your hand up, it's like you have a watch, and it actually gives you a score and everyone else's score that you're with.
Nice. That way you can see who's winning and all that kind of stuff. So very cool. All right. So before we go, I just got back into Legendary on the iPad, Legendary DXP. And I have not played the game in a while because the last time I played it, all it did was crash every single time. And so I just uninstalled it and said, well, they don't care about this stuff. And then the other day, I think it was Monday or Tuesday or something, I was like, I haven't checked in that game in a long time, about a year, I guess. And I went in, and I have just been having a blast with this. And turns out that that you have been playing that game like crazy too, it looks like, because you show up as someone that's like level 200 or something.
Yeah, I've been back and forth on it, but they've done so much with it in the past, like literally 6 months, that they've changed the interface and gaming and how they do like battles and team ups and stuff like that. And then they also do almost like once a week. They on the their Twitch channel, they do like a live stream and answer questions and all kinds of stuff too when they do updates and mods and stuff. So
well,
yeah, it's big time different than it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally different. I opened it up. I'm like, what's this campaign mode? And I've been playing through the campaign mode. And today I finally completed the first campaign, the first level campaign. And then I was like, oh, there's this, I can tap to the side and, oh, look, there's this sky. What is it? The sky. Let me find it here real quick. It is the Sky Crest, the Heroes of Sky Quest. And I'm halfway done. I just finished the second level for Bajero. And so I've got one more to complete on that one to finish. So it is a lot more fun than I remember it. And it certainly doesn't crash as much. But I will say that when I try to connect the iPad to my cell phone when I'm out, sitting in the car at my son's karate, it drops a lot. It has got I think it expects a lot of really fast internet connection, and cell phone just doesn't cut it. So. But I am enjoying it, and hopefully I will catch up with you soon, and maybe at some point we will see each other and be able to team up or something. So,
sounds good.
Yeah, cool. All right, Nate, thank you so much for calling in, man. It is so good to hear from you. I'm glad you're doing well.
Sir.
You have been absent from Major Spoilers for far too long, and we can't let that happen.
So I'm going to try to do, now with this new job, it's a little more streamlined now that I'm kind of sunk into it. So it's going to be a lot easier for me to be a little more involved with the awesomeness that Major Spoilers is.
Very, very good. Thank you so much, Nate, and you have an awesome weekend.
You too, man. Thanks.
See ya. Bye. So great to hear from the great NATO, one of our greats. Let me go back through here. Government employee, is it hard to get government employment in America? Yes and no. It depends. So many people try to clamor for the government jobs, but it's so easy for government employees to be laid off, or city employees or state employees. I call those all government type jobs. So it just depends on what the budget is. If the budget's no good, then there's, no hirings going on. Let's see. Good job on the green belt. The wand thing is fun, but all the wands that aren't character wands have a little light on the end to interact with stuff around the park. Yes, I like that. When my oldest was very, very young, like 3 or 4 years old, we went to this place called, Wolf's Lodge? Something like that, up in Kansas City. And it is decked out, and it has this fantasy theme where you can buy these little wands and go through the hotel, which is a big place. And you can point it at chests, and chests will open, and you'll get money loaded onto your account. And then at the end, when you've completed all the quests, you can go fight a dragon. It's kind of fun. Let's see. Got an email saying that Rockstar are giving away free stuff in Red Dead Online. Oh, I'm going to have to get in there this weekend to do some more Red Dead Redemption Online. It's been a lot of fun. Alex, if you're around when we do that, or Marshall, I know you got into the online. You need to get in, and so we can all team up together and go into one of those shoot 'em up games, so I'm not embarrassing myself left and right. Let's see. I went with a character wand. Great Wolf Lodge. That's what it is. Yeah, Marshall. That's what it is exactly. I think we still have the wand somewhere in the house, but there you go. All right. That is where we're going to end it this week. Man, Nate had a lot to share, and I'm glad that he did. Like I said, it's great whenever we get to have people call into the show and share what's going on in their world. And it's also great when you are here with us every week to talk up nerd things. So I was glad we were able to do some Star Wars. I was trying to get the webpage in, but I didn't have the audio feeding through correctly. So we will fix that in the future. That is a comic stand behind me. That is a spinner rack that I supported on Kickstarter. So it's got the whole thing. Although you can go on eBay. I have another comic rack in the Nerd Room of Doom that is loaded up as well. It doesn't look as cool as this one, though. But yes, that is one of the many things that are here at the Major Spoilers HQ. Maybe someday we'll open it up and have a big party and people can come and visit, but not this weekend, no. 8:30 a.m. in Australia. We'll get your day started. Have a great Saturday wherever you are at in Australia. And for those of us here in the United States, have a great Friday evening and into the weekend. And I hope this weekend that your favorite team wins. And until next time, do good, be good, and we will talk soon. Erica, Eric, Isabel. Can't read that fast. Gary Newman. Man, one of these days we're all going to live in cars. Hey, don't forget, guys, you can carry on the conversation over at our Discord server. I don't have a link on the site. I'm going to have to get one here on the Twitch page. But you guys can always go check us out and hang out with us on our Discord server. Lots of other people over there. And if you're a patron, thank you so much for all your patronage. Don't forget you can link your Patreon account to the Discord server and get access to a bunch of other stuff. Just like the great Nate O. And all these other people that are scrolling by here.